Greetings, I'm Jennifer, and I'm 36 years old. Throughout my life, I've been told that as a woman, I should stick to the kitchen and home. Despite this, I worked hard to create a unique identity, aiming to avoid being taken advantage of. However, things took a turn for the worse when my husband and mother-in-law began making decisions without consulting me. I confronted my husband about his plans to expand the house, wondering why he hadn't discussed it with me. His response was dismissive, claiming that since he's the primary breadwinner, he can do whatever he wants. Frustrated, I emphasized the importance of communication in our marriage, but he told me to back off. As time passed, Eric, my once sweet husband, became increasingly unrecognizable. He harbored resentment towards me, and despite my efforts to be kind, our relationship deteriorated. Even when discussing household decisions, he preferred consulting his mother rather than involving me. Feeling excluded, I expressed my desire to be more involved in decisions, like house renovations. However, Eric's response was cold, and he questioned why I wanted to know everything. The constant arguing and fighting became the norm in our conversations, leaving our relationship strained and on the verge of regrettable actions. It deeply impacted me, my children, my family, and my friends. Many people advised me to end my marriage, but my strong commitment prevented me from taking that step. I couldn't imagine being apart from him. The situation changed when my mother-in-law became more active in our lives, and suddenly everything became clear. I discovered that my husband and mother-in-law were involved in questionable activities. The truth emerged during her increasingly frequent and prolonged visits. Initially, she used to visit for 2 months, but the frequency increased. The issue was that she wasn't mentally stable. On one occasion, she greeted me sarcastically, referring to me as her favorite daughter-in-law. I pointed out that I'm her only daughter-in-law, but she brushed it off, labeling me as dull. When I asked about the purpose of her visit, she mentioned some business with her son, claiming it was none of my business. Concerned about the constant reduction in our household funds, I raised the issue. Emily, my mother-in-law, accused me of theft and threatened to inform Eric. I clarified that I didn't accuse her but sensed her guilty conscience. She left angrily, probably to complain to her son, but at that point I wasn't bothered. I became emotionally detached from the whole situation, and the ongoing threats didn't bother me. I just tried to steer clear of them until I got a suspicious email. The message said, "Hi Mom, make sure to get the right info for code Jennifer. We can't afford this plan to fail. You've worked hard to make everything go smoothly for us. Excited for everything to unfold. We'll be successful. Love you." Perplexed about being part of this plan without any prior information, I chose to reply, "Hey Eric, it seems I've been linked to this conversation. Can you please explain what's happening? Much love, Jennifer." After sending the email, Eric phoned me. I was surprised by the frustration in his voice. "Forget about what you just read, it's not your concern." "Well, obviously something is happening if my name is being used in your discussions with your mom." Jennifer is a common name. Be mature and focus on your matters before I take action I might regret. "What exactly are you planning, Eric? Tell me, what will you do that you'll regret later?" "You know, Jennifer, I rarely get upset, but this time you've crossed a line. We'll talk when I get home." He finished the call, and a sense of fear crept over me. Thoughts about the secretive and angry plans the two were brewing filled my mind. Feeling unsafe at home due to his menacing threats, I hastily packed my bags and opted for a temporary stay in a hotel. The constant anxiety of dealing with those troublemakers became unbearable. Upon reaching the hotel, I reached out to my childhood friend Donald. I was confident that he would offer support during this trying period. Shortly after my call, Donald arrived, expressing remorse for the recent events. "I understand," he empathized. "It seems like it's part of the marriage package. Show me the email. Perhaps together we can unravel this mystery." I shared the email with Donald, and he appeared as puzzled as I was when I initially read it. After thinking for a while, he remarked, "We should understand their perspective and unravel their actions. There's something suspicious going on, and since they're not being transparent with you, we need alternative methods to gather information." Curious, I inquired, "Such as?" He suggested, "Examining the funds and balances in the account. Have you observed any changes lately?" I replied, "The shared bank accounts are consistently decreasing. I questioned Eric and Emily about it, but you know how they are." "All right, let's begin here." Donald, skilled in technology, could hack into databases when necessary. His expertise became evident during our investigation. While I provided Donald access to bank accounts and financial records, he meticulously looked for irregularities. After extensive analysis, we made a startling discovery. It turned out that my husband and mother-in-law were engaged in dubious activities to increase their wealth. This suspicion gained credibility as Donald delved into Eric's email account, exposing a trail of incriminating evidence. They were siphoning funds from Eric's company, with a plan to frame me for their wrongdoing. This is what Code Jennifer represents, Donald clarified. They aim to launch their scheme and pin everything on you. Exactly. Eric planned to move the stolen money into our shared bank account, making it appear as if I were the culprit. It's truly a disturbing scheme. I can't fathom why someone would do such a thing. I started to break down and cry, but Donald quickly interrupted, urging me to focus. He emphasized that my life was on the brink of ruin unless we intervened. Grateful for the newfound information, we realized we had to act swiftly. I acknowledged the urgency but felt a burning desire for more than just involving the police. I wanted to retaliate against these schemers and hit them where it hurt. That's when inspiration struck. I suggested a plan, to exploit their love for money. What if I approached Eric with an irresistible business proposal, posing as the mastermind behind a shady enterprise? The goal was to catch them red-handed. Donald agreed, and after refining the details, we knew time was of the essence. I called Eric and lured him back, claiming I had a lucrative business opportunity he couldn't refuse. I hinted at the shady nature of the venture, playing into his inclination for dubious dealings. Eric took the bait, intrigued by the prospect of higher returns on his investment. The stage was set for our plan to unfold. Hey Eric, it's simple. How much should we contribute? We need to put in a total of $50,000, but we can break it down into smaller payments if that works better for you. I'll get back to you. During our conversation, I caught him discussing everything with Samantha and sharing my thoughts with her. They were deliberating on whether to proceed with the deal. Samantha seemed enthusiastic, and Eric's next statement was surprising. All right, let's go for it. I'll transfer the entire $50,000 for a speedy process. Time is essential. We can't afford any delays. Which account do I need to utilize? I asked. The joint bank account, Donald replied. Okay, I agreed. After we hung up, an email landed in Eric's inbox. The message said, just transferred $50,000 to the joint bank account. It's like sealing her fate. This will be a piece of cake. She'll take the fall for our crimes and will escape with the money. Reading those words deeply wounded me. Despite all we'd been through, Donald had planned to deceive me. Fortunately, Donald had meticulously documented everything, from the phone call to these incriminating messages, to build a strong case against them. I apologize for everything, Jennifer, he said. This guy isn't the right one for you. I hope you discover someone who treats you better. I feel the same way. The following morning, Donald came back to my hotel room to carry on with our investigation. My goal was not only to hold Eric and Emily accountable for their wrongdoing, but also to seek compensation for the time wasted in our unhappy marriage. I was determined to gather evidence of the emotional and mental mistreatment I endured over the years, aiming to make sure he faced consequences and lived an unhappy life with his mother. Donald's support meant a great deal, and I couldn't help but wonder why I didn't marry him instead. Why are you giving me that look? Oh, no special reason, my bad, no worries. Let's concentrate on our tasks. We kept working and achieved success after success, shaping the strategy for revealing Eric and Emily's actions. I wished for the entire situation to unfold in the open, creating chaos and upheaval in their lives, much like they had planned for mine. It seemed wild to imagine such a scenario. A week went by, and Eric was getting anxious about my absence. I purposely kept my distance, knowing that he was headed for a lengthy prison sentence. Eventually, I reached out to Eric to kickstart the plan that Donald and I had carefully devised over the past week. Everything was falling into place. I invited Emily and Eric to a bustling cafe, and as soon as they arrived, our plan unfolded. Discreetly, I pressed the record button on my voice recorder. I'm happy you both came. Let's get straight to the point. It's not wise to discuss this out in the open. Why did you choose such a crowded cafe? I'm starting to feel uneasy, Eric inquired. Relax, Eric. I like this cafe, and besides, it's as if we're hiding right in plain sight, I reassured. Finally, you called to update us on the business deal we discussed. Why did it take so long, and why weren't you at home? Emily inquired. I've been busy sorting out the specifics of the deal. Wouldn't you prefer everything to be accurate and thorough? Trust me, I reassured. Eric questioned, Okay, but when will we get our money back? I replied, Soon, don't worry. But before that, I want to know something. Where did you acquire that money? Emily asked. What do you mean? The $50,000 you deposited into the account. Where did it come from? Does it matter where I got it? You'll be using the money too, won't you? Eric responded. Just answer my question, Eric. Why are you asking him so many questions? This is exactly why we don't involve you in our plans, because you struggle to keep things confidential. You seem to think I'm unaware of the truth, that I don't realize how unpleasant and deceitful both of you can be. I'm fully aware of everything, including the fact that you're misusing funds from your company. How can you accuse me of such a thing? I would never engage in such behavior, and even if I did, you don't have any evidence. I acknowledged, you're right, I don't have proof. So why not just be honest with me? Let's resolve this, okay? The thing is, you don't have any evidence. Eric provided a thorough explanation of how he began stealing from his company, admitting that he had no issues with blaming me. They both chuckled like villains after their wicked plan was uncovered. Despite my attempts to stay calm, I coolly remarked, "Caught you." "What?" Eric exclaimed. "I caught you. I just got you to admit to all your scheming," I said with satisfaction. "Oh, come on, are you playing detective?" Eric scoffed. "I may not have detective skills, but I'm clever enough to document stuff." I then showed my hidden recording device, confirming I had caught their complete confession. Emily's face went pale as she yelled at Eric to take action. In a panic, Eric tried to grab the recorder from me, but he was too slow. He began making a scene, drawing the notice of photographers I had employed to capture these moments. Some bystanders started live streaming the event on their phones. It was quite a show. Donald restrained Eric while the photographers documented the unfolding drama. Things weren't going well for the two wrongdoers. Eric seemed like an angry and hostile person, giving off vibes that he wanted to hurt both Emily and me. On the flip side, Emily was causing a scene, shouting offensive words at onlookers and me. The chaotic situation quickly attracted a lot of attention, and shortly afterward, I collected video evidence, audio recordings from our meetings, email chains, and bank account details. Donald and I thoroughly reviewed this information. With all the evidence in hand, I went to the police station to explain my situation. The case review moved quickly, thanks to the thorough groundwork Donald and I had done beforehand. Soon after, Eric faced public termination and humiliation on social media, while Emily lost her standing as an up-and-coming socialite. Both were brought to trial for embezzlement, gaining national attention. Eric and Emily were shunned by society. Their images were featured on TV and in newspapers for weeks. Donald and I were praised for our hard work. Amid Eric's trial, I initiated divorce proceedings, using the negative publicity to secure a significant settlement. I also sold our shared home, unable to stay there any longer. This marked the start of my financial independence. Observing the trials of Eric and Emily, I made it clear that I had outsmarted them, challenging their belief in their intelligence. They often glared at me in the courtroom, especially when the prosecutors summoned me to testify because I played a vital role in solving the case. While on the stand, I shared all the details I could recall, projecting confidence and subtly teasing my ex-husband and mother-in-law. Despite their hostile looks, I knew that mere expressions couldn't harm me. Considering the severity of their criminal deeds, it was inevitable that they would face a lengthy prison term. While they served their time, I embraced a luxurious lifestyle, documenting my experiences in a book that highlighted how Donald and I uncovered their misdeeds. Ultimately, justice prevailed, and I relished the satisfying taste of revenge.